So hello, everybody. This is Karen Rands, the Compassionate Capitalist, with another video blog interview with another interesting and an exciting person that's personally benefited my life. And I hope by sharing their story with you and some tidbits about entrepreneurism and compassionate capitalism that you'll benefit as well with everything that you need to do. So my guest today is Eric Anderson, and he is, I call him the PassionEpreneur. If you know, it's PassionEpreneur, and if you've watched any of these other things that I have done about compassionate capitalism, you know that passion is a big part of what I think really motivates a lot of entrepreneurs. And I met Eric at an event probably about 2 years ago, I guess it was there. I'm guessing given on the timing to get my book done. And he was talking about taking a passion that you had and monetizing it and turning it into profit, and understanding how to market and turn that into a business. And at the time I was trying to get my book done, my rebook done, and this one right here, Inside Secrets to Angel Investing. And he had a book. I bought his book and we talked on the phone. He spent some time with me, and I was sort of at this log jam, and I was very, very passionate about it. I really didn't want to bring out this whole idea publicly and this book, because there was so much that I really wanted to happen with it, with creating the compassionate capitalist movement. And he helped me with that. He told me some real easy, clear, I could totally get around my head around getting that those steps done so I could break the logjam of getting my book done. Now, it still took me another year after that, but I definitely say that, you know, Eric really helped me do that. So I'm very happy to have him on the show today to share some of those insights and something special he's got coming up soon enough. And so, Eric, I'm going to go ahead and say hello and welcome to the show.
How are you, Karen? Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody watching and listening, all of that good stuff.
So, okay, so we talked a little bit before we got started here. Of course, you have a company, it's called AHA Entertainment, and you're very focused. You do a lot of different things within that. One is working with entrepreneurs and people that are striving to be entrepreneurs, or in that matter, people that I had a conversation the other day with somebody, and we talk about, you know, in this world that we live in now with gig economies and uncertainty of jobs and things like that, how important it is to create multiple streams of income, find other ways, whether that's investing in entrepreneur endeavors that, you know, can produce an income for you, or creating a side gig that's based on your passion and building that up, you know, and to the point that you could leave maybe a traditional job or something like that. So talk to me about a little bit in our audience about how you got started in being such an expert in monetizing passions like this for entrepreneurs and executives.
Okay, well, initially for me, it started as a kid. I fell in love with the art of magic, a very simple card trick, and I fell in love with that. And I would practice and perform and just do all that good stuff. And at some point, it was what I wanted to do as a career, as a business. Didn't really know how to kind of go about it. And so once I was out of school, I served a very brief stint in the Air Force. I was out, and this whole time I'm doing shows. I'm making a few dollars here and there. But I started to kind of ask questions like, how do I go do this? How do I go do that? And the answers, everything kind of steered me towards sales marketing. And the thing I learned is had nothing to do with what I was doing. So again, you could take magic out of the picture and put in that picture. Once you learn how to market it, right? Once you learn how to market it, now you have somebody to sell to. So initially, that's where and from there, I doing all sorts of like corporate events, association types of events. I was personally selected to perform President Barack Obama's inauguration. So those types of events. Yeah,
we're just going to pause on that for a second. So, you know, that's one of those things you can't even, like, I almost, it makes me think of one of those American Express commercials, you know? Learn magic, you know, get a good speaking career using magic, you know, worth this, worth that. You know, a presidential inauguration, priceless, right?
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. It was, and was one of a number of different types of dreams that I had to do. Initially
Yeah.
growing up, I heard about all these, famous magicians that would perform in all these really cool environments. And I said, you know what, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to do that. So when I was able to do that, I've done a couple of things here in Georgia at the governor's mansion, those types of different events. And but this whole time I'm in love with marketing and sales. And in the process, friends, associates, they start to kind of see your success, kind of see what you're doing. Say, Eric, what's going on? How are you doing this? And so initially it started with just casual conversations with people. And like any entrepreneur, as I like to say, passionpreneur, once you get enough times, there's actually an income stream there for you. So it didn't take me long to figure out, I could make an additional stream of income just by coaching and helping and directing people to kind of do what I did. Again, not with magic, but with whatever it is that we all have something that we love to do that we learn, that we love to profit from. So.
Right, and not necessarily just, and not obviously just public speaking. There's all kinds of things that people can have a passion about, and that's, one of the things that I personally, as an entrepreneur and as somebody that advises entrepreneurs, and the frustration that I felt for many years. I've been working with angels and angel investors and entrepreneurs and different sources of capital for 15 years. And one of the most frustrating things for me over that period of time is when you see this passion of an entrepreneur, they've got an innovation, they've got something that they've invented, they have something that they just really, really, are very passionate about, and they struggle to get it to the market. There's all different types of amount of capital that is needed to get, start companies and grow companies, and there are different business models. And when you have the ones that traditional angel investors invest in, they're, market makers. They're ones that are going to change the way the market is out there, or change the way people do things. And I've seen so much innovation that has never really gotten to market because of lack of capital. And so, that was the big thing for me. And when the recession hit, and my business model was not appropriate for surviving through the recession, and I had to reassess how I went to market and all that stuff. And it was so discouraging for me, because it was so much of my passion to help entrepreneurs succeed and to help those angel investors create these other streams of income for them, and to have a piece of that entrepreneur dream by, that whole, what I call the compassionate capitalist, right? At that time, it was investing in innovation to bring, entrepreneurs, to bring jobs to the market, create jobs and create wealth, right? That was kind of part of the economic recovery plan that I had. But they're just really, it's so frustrating, because so much of I realize there's such lack of education out there for the people that have money, that they even have the ability to do this. And with the Jobs Act, and we call it the disintermediation, I think that's the right word, it's the word of the day, is the removal of the barriers between entrepreneurs and capital. And so it's the investors aren't dependent on financial planners and wealth managers to give them investment opportunities. They can be presented those directly. And because of regulations of FINRA, those people that should be advising them on that are really not allowed to, or perceive that they're not allowed to, based off of because of the regulations under FINRA. And then entrepreneurs, traditionally had only been able to go to their friends and families or through angel investor groups. It was very difficult to find other investors outside of those sometimes narrowly focused angel investor groups. But now, with all the various ways that they can raise money under general solicitation, there's really no barrier between them. But guess what? If the investors don't know how to do that, and how to, they can't find those entrepreneurs that have a passion and are worthy of investment to bring that together. And so, that's what I always have to do, my shameless plug. So that's why I did this. And, only do it. It's only, it's a passion, because I'm only charging $20 for it. It's only $10 on Kindle. So, it's more about what it does in the marketplace and what it brings to the marketplace than it is about, making $100 every book, because there's hundreds of dollars worth of resources that come with this on the portal. So, anyway, so again, I want to give a little shout out to Eric for helping me break that logjam, because I'd probably still be thinking about it, and wondering and struggling and self-guessing myself, and really going, oh, can I do this? Can I be the leader of the Compassionate Capitalist movement? Right? So you're definitely a piece of that puzzle. So thank you very much, sir. So let's get so do you have an example of somebody that you've coached that maybe did something, a lifelong dream, but had fear associated with doing that, or just an interesting kind of like you never would have thought this person would have been able to start this business? You got a little anecdotal story you can tell?
Yeah, couple. We think of so the guy I knew, he was in a traditional job, in a corporate job, and he found himself in a position he was unemployed, and he's trying to figure out what to go do. Right now, on the side, when I like every blue moon, and this is, I'm thinking about this example because it's an extreme example, and it shows you how easy it can be. Sometimes we get stuff, and the word that you used earlier was barriers, right? Sometimes there's barriers, there's physical, barriers that people put up in front of us, but most of the barriers are in front of ourselves, right? So he's trying to figure out what to do. He calls me, we're talking on the phone about it. I said, well, just go. He was an entertainer in this particular case, and I'll give another example that's not an entertainer, but he was an entertainer in this particular case. I said, just go street perform. He said, what? Street performing. And he said, well, I've never thought about it. He said, well, I said, that's what you do. That's one of your skill sets, just go. And said, well, can I make what I make at the corporate job? And I said, I'm sure you can. I don't know exactly what you make, but I'm sure you can. So he reached to me, I don't know, it was maybe a year and a half later, he reached out to me. He was traveling the world. He was following his passions.
Wow.
And he had exceeded what he was making in the corporate job. And it was just, it was already there for him. He just had to look a little differently. And again, I always say there's another word you used earlier was models, business models, right? There's lots of ways to get it. There's lots of ways to get it right, but there's also a lot of ways to make it better. And sometimes we're just we're just in the wrong business model. And even though this particular model might be effective, if you make simple shifts, as we talked about, it was very simple what I explained to you, right, about getting the book done, but it made a huge difference in getting it done. Yeah. And sometimes those simple shifts are the things that we look at, sometimes see, but avoid, because in our mind we say, oh, that's too simple. That's not going to work. Look, it must be more complicated than that, right? Mm-hmm. And oftentimes it's not. You just have to, again, take action. And I'm a big believer in, some say money is attracted to speed. So the faster you get going, the better it is. I'm always amazed at how long it takes people to get stuff done. And, yeah. I'm amazed, but I'm not surprised, because I felt on that same of, I just heard a quote. It says something along the lines of imperfect action is better than perfection. I think that was a quote.
Oh, so, right. Yeah, I've heard that too. Yes.
Yeah, and it's just better to just get it out there and start.
And then fix it. I know.
Exactly.
It's such a, I think it's for, I don't know that it's necessarily, I never really consider myself a type A personality, but other people might. But it's one of those things where, and I don't consider myself necessarily a perfectionist, right? But there's that fear of failure is such a cloud over, or something like sort of sits on people's shoulders, that keeps them from just getting started. And one of the books I read early on in my entrepreneur career was Fail Your Way to Success, I think was the name of the book. It was like a little book like this. And it's that whole concept that we learn, and that's why failure is not bad, because if you choose to learn from your failure and recognize things that you could have done differently, then there's all kinds of things. I mean, and you think about, even if you look at like these concepts of growth hacking, right? Well, the whole fundamental behind growth hacking is making small fundamental changes. And this doesn't work, then you do this till you find the perfect formula that's exactly what your customer base wants, right? And so,
Exactly.
it's just, and sometimes if you make those, if you go ahead and get started, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. If you go ahead and get started so that you can make little failures and they don't cost you huge amounts of money or huge amounts of this, right? Then, and you're constantly measuring and adjusting, then you can get to success much more faster than if you just kind of go all in on something, or you wait before you do it. And then you've got so much invested in that business model, in the way that product is designed, that it's very difficult to pivot or be able to go to the direction that you need to be able to go. And that's, it's such a key part of it. And I think that's, for people that particularly passion sometimes can get behind it. I mean, that was one of the things that limited me. I was like, I was so, oh, what if the book is, what if it's stupid? What if it's, all these other kind of things. And it's like, just gotta get it out there. And then I can always do a revision. And of course, I'm planning on doing all kinds of other little ones, like inside secrets to investing in women businesses, inside secrets to investing in entertainment businesses, inside secrets, and all these little other smaller ones that will build upon the fundamental. This book, an investor I met with this yesterday, and I took him through it, that I'd known for a long, long time. We'll be partnering up in his angel investor group. He's going to use it as a tool in his angel investor groups as he spreads that around the country. And he was talking about, this is really like a Bible for angel investing. And he said, it's not something, you don't read the Bible in one day, and you don't, you go to church and then you go, and it motivates you to go read the Bible. So part of the whole thing, and the reason why I'm doing these kinds of video calls, is because I want that idea for people to understand that they can find, not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur, right? So if there's somebody that is gainfully employed or has made money on other things, they don't have to start 5 businesses. They can invest in 5 entrepreneurs with a passion and a plan to succeed in that company. And the capitalist system makes the money. The compassion makes the money in an entrepreneur endeavor. And so, that's the message. And then with that message, that's the movement, right? My goal, like Robert Kiyosaki shifted so many people's minds on the cash flow quadrant, on what it meant to be on the right side of the quadrant and investing your money in things that make money for you and not just time, right? And so that investing in entrepreneurs becomes an asset class like any other asset class, real estate and stocks, that people strive to include in their portfolio. And with the change, whether it's a small business down the street or like your example of that entertainer, it's nice if he got money and he had money enough to go and travel the world with him. He was making that. But sometimes people can have an opportunity. They might be able to want to put on a show. I have people come to me on the entertainment space where, I want to put on this, I want to produce this concert, and I want to do this thing to raise money for this cause or something like that. And I need some investors. Well, I always tell them how to go find the investors, but it all comes down to something like that. When it's something that's not necessarily repeatable or scalable, and everyone gets created, you create a brand and then you can, but it's not like a traditional business. Well, they have to find somebody that shares that passion and has the money for it. And that, but they need to be able to understand, the fundamentals of making money at it, right? And so, so when you go through and you coach people about doing this, you talk about turning passion to profit. How do you do all like the basic fundamentals of having a plan and a strategy, and how do you price it, and all of those, fundamentals of a traditional business on that? Or what kind of things do you do when you do your coaching programs?
Well, yes, we do. We kind of go through all of that kind of basic stuff, but a lot of it initially is helping people get out of their own way.
Okay.
Right? So once they get out of their own way, right, it's all up here. It's all up here. Once you get all this straight, it starts to work itself out, because there's, again, a lot of ways to get it right. And so the basics of, like going to go start a business, is very simple. There's nothing complicated about that, right? That's, I mean, you go down to the office down, I forgot what street it is here in Atlanta, and you go pay the $100 fee and you basically start a business. Okay, now you have a business, but great. What do you do to market that business? What do you get people to, call you or email you or into your storefront, right? That's when the business starts. So again, like one of my mentors taught me, you're not in the business of whatever you're doing. You're in the business of marketing whatever it is you're doing. And once I understood and started.
Did you say monetize whatever you're doing?
No. I'm sorry, you're in the business of whatever it is you're doing. So whether you're doing this, a baker, candlestick, whatever, that's not necessarily your business. Your business, marketing and selling that particular service or product.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the business. That's a huge mind shift that people have kind of get around and figure out. But once you figure that side of it out, once you understand that's the business that you're in, that information, that's when things start to take off. That's when things really start to change and you make more profit. That's it. Because, what we're taught, again, most people, this is how most people get in business or become an entrepreneur. I say most, but a lot, because I've seen and heard this story a lot. Somebody, loses their job, right? They got to make something happen. So they say, okay, I'm gonna go be an entrepreneur, and not realizing it's a little more challenging than just saying I'm going to go be an entrepreneur. It's a lot more challenging than that.
Yeah.
And they realize the difficulty in it. Meanwhile, this whole time they've been looking for jobs and all this stuff. So something comes through, so they're no longer an entrepreneur. They're back to doing whatever it is.
Temporarily an entrepreneur. Yeah. I've experienced that with people close to me. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's fine. But again, why is it that when we learn something or we go to college understand there's a process to learn these things, but as an business owner, as an entrepreneur, we don't really take those steps. I'm glad that more and more people are reaching out and finding coaches and finding people like yourself that can help them make their dreams come true. But again, there's a process and there's a lot to learn. It's like two different worlds. Mm-hmm. It's completely different in theory and actually going to actually go do it. Two completely different worlds. And until people realize that, it's like, what am I doing here? I understand there's a lot of fear around it, but it's also great. And something you said not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur. And about what you're doing is like you said, you're bringing people together and you're allowing, it's a complete win-win situation. Right? It's a total win-win. The entrepreneur wins because he or she, they get the capital that they need to make their dreams come true. The investor wins because they're, using their money to leverage, with their money and make more money. And as you say, compassion. So assuming this entrepreneur is doing something positive to impact the world, everybody else wins, right? So it's a complete win-win situation. Yeah. That's one of the things I share is how do you create win-win situations for people? How do you create where everybody, no losers in the equation?
Right.
And that's a wonderful thing when you're able to do that.
Okay, so Eric, now we're running up on our time, so I want to make sure, because I know you have something special coming up that we want to share with everybody that's listening, that it's a unique opportunity to kind of get a piece of a feel for this, kind of get us, maybe break that logjam. You have a webinar or something coming up. Tell everybody about what that's all about.
Yeah, we're gonna do the ultimate passionpreneur, how to turn your passion into profits web. And we're gonna walk everybody through the exact steps that they need to take to turn their passion into profits and monetize something that they'd love to do. And right now, the date we talked about, it's going to happen September 14th.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Thursday. And we'll do it fairly early, so a lot of people could, take, if they're working with somebody, they can take some, a quick lunch break and tune into it. So we're going to do it from 11:30 a.m. 1 p.m. And we're just going to walk you through the process. Now, obviously, in a 90-minute, 90-minute talk and give everybody every single detail.
Right.
But you'll get a lot of information that you could use and act upon and benefit from. So,
And that's
and again, very simple.
And it's a free webinar too, right?
It is free. Yes, it is a free webinar.
Yeah, so that's terrific.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
Free,
so then, I sure hope people take advantage of that. Anybody listening to this that's an entrepreneur that has this idea, or, you know, even if you feel like you've already kind of started a business and you feel like you're stuck, just like I was, totally. September 14th, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you look at the link in this wherever you're watching this, and make sure you link it through to that and sign up for that webinar. So, and then will it also be on your website that people would be able to go to if they, for some reason, for whatever reason they're seeing this, they don't see the link to get to it? Because I'm sure the webinar, what's the webinar called?
Well, with the web, it's the ultimate passionpreneur, how to turn your passion into profit.
Okay.
So no, once the link will take them to the website. So the link takes them to the website, and obviously we'll talk about it and market it, you know, kind of launch it, so to speak, to the public in general. And but yeah, so you just hit the link. You'll be able to register, you know, a little bit of information there about the webinar. But there's going to be a lot happening, and it's going to be fairly quick pace because I want to get through a lot of information and share a lot of powerful points with people.
And then it's going to be live, so will people be able to ask questions or type in questions on the
ask questions
and stuff?
Yep. You'll be able to type in your questions. And again, even though we have it scheduled for 90 minutes, so 1:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., I stay on until each and every question is answered. So,
wow.
I haven't done this where I have not been able to stay on. So,
okay.
I answer a lot of questions during the webinar, but you know, obviously people have additional questions. So
yeah, and so then in general, tell people how to reach you. What's your website? Okay,
my website, I'm known as the Magician with the Message. So if you want to learn a little bit more about me, if you go to erictyleranderson.com, EricTyleranderson.com. And as we were talking earlier, that's my visible business. That's kind of what people see. But there's also, I like to look at it as, if you look at a huge iceberg, right? You just see the tip. You just see the tip of it.
Yeah,
but below, it's sprawled out, and there's all these things going on. So there's a lot of things beneath the surface that people don't see, but there's a lot going on there. But yeah, but they some information about me on
okay, great. And you can get information about me and my book. Very simple, KarenRands.co, Karen, KarenRands.co. And it talks about all the stuff we do for entrepreneurs and all the stuff we do for investor education and the various programs and speaking opportunities, and all of that good stuff is all in one spot. And so with that, I want to thank you again, Eric, for what you've done for me. And I want to thank you on behalf of all the entrepreneurs I know that are going to sign up for the ultimate passionpreneur webinar on the 14th of September, and all the people that you're going to help. So, you know, we'll continue to pay it forward as passionate entrepreneurs and compassionate capitalists. Thank you very much for being with me today.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right. See you later. Have a great day.
Yeah.